Good day, everyone. My name is Idris Musbah Idris. I'm from the Department of Software Engineering. And this is a program designed for the students of Maun. So this is going to be coming to the Maun student every week. Now the program is going to be for every courses that we take in Maun here, and it's going to be explaining and elaborating on the topics that we've been taught. So we are going to start with introduction to database system. With me here, I have
I'm Alamin Kabiya Kase from the Department of Data Science.
I'm Hafsat Samtaya from the Department of Cybersecurity.
I'm Moshood Mujai from the Department of Software Engineering.
I'm Ali Garba Abdullahi from Department of Information Technology.
So, before we start, I would like to just explain a little bit about this program a bit. Now, this program is going, like I said, it's going to be done every week. Now we are starting with introduction to database system. It's going to be a podcast, a discussion on a topic that's been taught for that lecture for that week. Now, in this database system, we are going to talk about the definition of database, what exactly is a database, and how is it applicable? How would we apply database in our day-to-day activities? Because it's not just about understanding the definition of a database. We have to understand how can I, as a computing student, how can I use that knowledge of database to create an application? We also talk about its types, the types of database we have. We also talk about database management system. We also see the difference between what is a database and what is a database management system. The next thing we also know about the features of database management system. Then we also talk about relational database management system, which is under the types of databases. We also talk about SQL, which is also known as SQL. We also talk about NoSQL, no SQL. So I think I would let's the discussion start.
Okay, good day to you once again. Let's dive into the journey together. Firstly, introduction to database system. What is data? First, data can be defined as an unprocessed item, or it can be referred to as facts or figure and information that are collected. We can say a collection of unprocessed items that can be wrote or processed. What is base? Base refers to the storage system for data. So now what is database? Okay, let's dive into the journey together. What did you understand by the word database?
So, firstly, let's say we have to know the definition of data and the definition of base. So, when we say data, it means raw facts. Let's talk about base. Base is just a storage system. So, when we combine them together, we say database is a systematic collection of data electronically.
To add more light to it, if we talk about data, let me use an analogy of a library for us to understand what database actually is all about. We all know what a library. A library is a place where we get books and the rest. Now, take library as the database entirely. Now, the books there are the data. Because when you go into the library, what you could find there are the data, which are the books there. Now, we have database management system. A librarian is what we call a database management system. So in this case, it means that database management system, you can say, is a software or an interface that allows the retrieval or like navigation of what the data. Meaning that a librarian is one that would show you where this book is, where you can retrieve this library, where you can do this. That's by in the simplest time what a database is all about. So like now we have types of database.
Yeah.
So
But before you dive into types of database, I can add more definition to database.
okay,
It's an application software that helps users to create, modify, read, update databases.
exactly. Like you said, like if we can use our this thing, let's use our portal as an example. Now our school portal is where we see our result, right? Now all those our results now they are saved in what, in a database. Now it's the help of database that allows the school to retrieve all of our information, and it gives us the ability to retrieve our results, to see what I got, see my CGPA and everything. So that's the work of what, database.
Yeah, just like airline reservation system is
Exactly.
also example of a database. because it manages flights, schedules, booking, and passengers' information. It is to all these, they are examples of database systems.
Exactly.
Like a real life example is like a school secretary. Like if a teacher says, find Musa's file. So like the secretary will go to the cabinet to get files. So that cabinet is our database, and the school secretary is the database management system. It makes it work efficiently. It runs the database.
Exactly. So I think with this we understand what exactly a database is, and also we know how to apply it. Now, meaning how to apply, now we know the definition of it, but how can I apply it as a computing student? Okay, it's very simple. Let's say, for example, you have an idea in which you want to take in record of, you want to take in record name, phone number, email address of your schoolmate, for example. Maybe there's an event that you want to create, that you want to host, for example, but you need the information of your schoolmate, that's your classmate, their name, their phone number, and their email now. So this is where database comes in. Instead of you to just carry pen and paper to start writing name, this and that. Now, one, it's you're going to get tired. Secondly, it's in a paper, you can misplace that paper. So that's where database comes in. You can create a database, and that database can store the information that you want: name, email, phone number. And we said something about a database enables you to what? To create, modify. So it means that I can create that name, I can modify it, it's anywhere I want. It's easy, what, accessible.
Yes.
So I think with this we understood what exactly a database is. Now, next thing is the types of database we have.
We have some types of database like DBMS, RDBMS, NoSQL system, OODBMS. With DBMS means database management system. RDBMS means relational database management system. NoSQL system, if you say SQL, we mean structured query language. Then we also have OODBMS, which is object oriented database management system. So let's understand all this. So what is DBMS? What is RDBMS? Firstly, we have explained what is DBMS, which is database management system. So let's move to the next one, which is RDBMS, relational database management system. So what can you guys say about relational database management system?
You can say that related database management systems like it's software that deals with. So we can say the RDBMS organizes data in form of tables composed of rows and columns which store information.
So people get confused of columns or rows. So what's a row? A row is the horizontal line in the database, and a column is the vertical line in the database. So an example of database is like an Excel sheet. So I don't know if Hafsa can say something.
Yeah, I'm just going to add one thing. Rows are also known as record. So that is it.
And columns are also known as field.
Yes.
Humans.
Okay.
Okay, that's very good. So, before we get the concept of relational database management system, we have to know the database management system, which we did. Now, database management system, relational management system is a type of database management system. We said that database management system is a software or a platform that allows you to navigate, create, and store maybe your information. Now, this relational database management system, types of database management system we said is the relational database management system. And this type of database stored information in rows and columns. Now, examples of it is we have MySQL as an example. Let's take a real world scenario here. Let's take our, let's say, Instagram registration page, for example. It has inputs like, okay, first name, last name, phone number, email address. And those inputs, when they are going to the database, they go to a database, type of database, relational database management system, because they are saved in rows and columns. So that's to the basic, I can say what a relational database is. And like I said, example is we have MySQL as the type. We have yes, Oracle also is an example of it.
So last but not the least, that's the type. We'll talk on NoSQL. So SQL, that's SQL, means structured query language. So this database is dealing with massive and enormous data. I don't know if Hafsa can add more
Yeah,
to it.
yeah. The only thing I'm going to say is that if no SQL stored data in a non-tabular form.
Yes.
That is it.
Examples are Cassandra, Redis,
Yes.
and many more.
Yeah, we have MongoDB
So
and
let's
so on.
dive into the features.
Okay, so
Okay.
before then, I would like to explain more about the NoSQL. We all know all these messaging platforms, WhatsApp and rest, because they receive massive amounts of data. So they use the example of those NoSQL database because they are unstructured data. So those ones are not saved in rows and columns. So that's an example of it.
Okay. Now the futures. We have a lot of futures, but let's first talk about data modeling. Data modeling, tools to create and modify data models, defining the structure and relations with the databases. The next one is data storage and retrieval, concurrency control, data integrity and security, backup and recovery, and so on.
Data integrity.
Yeah, and so on, and many other more. So I think
So I think that covers everything about database. We just talked about the definition of database, what is
types,
data,
types,
database, the types,
features.
and
Yeah,
some
the
features of
Yeah,
it.
characteristics.
yes.
So I don't know if from this discussion if there's any question that someone might want to ask.
So, please, Idris, can you elaborate on database and backend logic?
Okay, as we established earlier, we said a database is a place where we store information, right? And it's in rows and columns. Right? So what I can say is, like I made mention of, I use Instagram as an example. I said when you sign up, your information goes to the database. Yes.
Yeah.
Now, when we're talking about back end, it's this the logic that makes those information to be saved in that database. Now, when I try to log into my Instagram account, now when I log in and when you log in, we are going to see different things depending on our feed, right? Now it's that back end logic that will know that I'm the one that's logging in and you are the one that you log in. Let's say I have two users, Mr. A and Mr. B. I register Mr. A, I register Mr. B registers as well. So now those information by default they will just go to the database, right? But when I'm logging in, how will the system recognize that I'm done logging? Mr. A is logging in or Mr. B is logging in? That's what we call logic backend. So this backend, you can use different languages to do that. We have Java, we have Python, we have PHP. It all depends. So that's backend. Database also it's part of the backend. Can I say backend component as you can because when we talk, though not to just make it big, but we have front end, we have back end. Front end is just the basic UI, but the back end is the logic, what happens behind it. Just if you take WhatsApp as an example again, the UI we see, the charts, the status, and everything, those are the UI, right? Now, the charts, I send you a message, it goes to the database, right? NoSQL database.
Okay, what I understand is that backend is a programming language, while database is a storage
It's
system.
not exactly a programming language. Backend, it's kind of how kind of it's a term, general term used
also
to
used to
describe
store-
those languages. Now, if I said front end, consists of what? HTML, CSS, JavaScript. That's the name given to. Just like maybe here we have School of Computing, right? In School of Computing, we have software engineering, we have computer science. Now, under software engineering, we have a lot of things, but they are categorized all under School of Computing. So that is something. Front end, it's the UI design interface of your system. So that we use some technologies to build them. Now, back end, it's also comprises it's a logic that happens behind the scene.
So the process of the story.
Yes,
That's what we call backend.
yes, the process, all the logic that happens on the application, that's the back end.
Moreover, like everyone knows that I'm a foodie. So I will give a real life example related to food.
Yes.
So like back end is just like a chef and database is just like a fridge storing its back.
Yeah.
So you can tell some. It's just like let's use a restaurant. That's the common example they normally give when giving example. Okay, as a restaurant now, I go to the restaurant. Yes, who do I give my order to? The waiter there,
Yes.
right? But who make the food? Inside in the restaurant, there's a kitchen, right?
Yes.
And those people in the kitchen, they make everything. Those are the back end. What I see is just the food. I just see the results. I don't care about how they prepare this and that. So, in brief, that's what this in database and back end is. So I
Hope
think
everything
this
Yeah.
this brings to the end of this session, and I
we
think
can
by
call it
now
a day.
we understood exactly what database is all about,
Database,
its
yeah, its
types.
futures
Some
and
part
its
of the
size.
That's the
Yeah.
types.
Please be just touch a little of it, and if there's any question, you can post it in the comments.
Or feedback.
Exactly.
Was
No,
Yeah,
there's a now
something like
there's a
that.
comment place where you can ask questions and give suggestions.
Oh, that's
So you can post it and we'll see it. And in our next video, we are going to give
Okay.
Have
Thanks
a
for
nice
watching.
day.
Bye.